Ihr hört einen Podcast vom Future of Festivals, das Branchentreffen für alle VeranstalterInnen, Dienstleistende, EntscheiderInnen und Auszubildenden aus dem Festivalbereich. Die nächste Ausgabe findet von Donnerstag, den 27. bis Freitag, den 28. November 2025 in der Station Berlin statt. Die folgende Aufzeichnung ist aus dem Jahre 2024 von dem Diskussionspanel mit dem Namen
Learn from each other, US and European Festivals.
Viel Spaß beim Zuhören. Mehr Informationen und Tickets findest du unter www.futureoffestivals.com.
Hello everybody. Thanks for having us to Future of Festivals. As mentioned, I'm Holger Jan Schmidt, this General Secretary of Europe, the European Festival Association. Europe has put this together and funded this also. I will give you just a quick information what Europe is in the beginning before then going into the discussion. And I'm trying. There we have it. Basically, the information is behind the seats, so I will tell you, and you will see the information. Europe currently, it was founded in 1998. It is an association of popular music festivals. The big festivals like Roskilde, like Superbloom Festival, Primavera Sound, but also Wacken, Pink Pop, Lowlands, Sziget Festival. But also very small, the small festivals like Haldern Pop or Ipswich Rock in Italy, from boutique to major festivals. Currently we have 132 festivals and associated members from 30 countries organized, and it's all about exchange of experience, exchange of knowledge, finding common ground, working together, exchanging on eye level. Yeah, it's we call it the European Festival family. We are, I think, and we're happy to be here and share with you too. Can you click, please? Europe has a couple of working groups. I'm not going very much into detail. We have our own conferences. Our summit was last week. We have the European Festival Awards taking place in Groningen at Eurosonic in the beginning of the year. And we are also contributing to European funded projects. And one of those is the 3F Festival, the 3F project. Please go ahead. Click on, please. It's a three-year project looking at the resilience, relevance and responsibility of festivals, which we did for the past years. We just had a presentation at stage number 3 with all the tools that we have created, and it's going around a set of guiding questions. I'm not going into them right now because I don't want to bother you too much. If you can click on, please. But one of the focus topics is that we advocate for our industry, for our festival sector, for those who don't know it, in the cultural scene, but also in the festival sector, but also to politics in Brussels, etc., but also internationally. And the international exchange and the transatlantic exchange is something that we have started this year. And please click on. Further. Weiter, weiter, bitte. Weiter. 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 This is a photo from Fest Forums. Laurie is here. Laurie Kirby is the promoter of Fest Forums in Santa Barbara in California, USA. We had the first session of this transatlantic exchange there. And on the right, you see Jenn also, but next to her is Sine Loptrup, the CEO of Roskilde Festival. She was on the program. She says, hi, unfortunately, due to family issues, she could not come. We're sad about that, but completely understand the reasons. And Fruzsina nicely was so kind and fill in the slot and hopefully give us some of her sparkle and magic during this hour. And the three of you were together in Santa Barbara, and now in Berlin. We will talk about our experiences, how we do festivals, how we approach them, how we manage them, what is important to us, and that is what you will hear in the next hours. Please click on. Thank you. So, our kind host already introduced you. Marta, you're the head of press at Primavera Sound Festival, also a Europe member. Maybe you can quickly give us 2 or 3 sentences about what you do at the festival, what your task is, and your approach.
So thanks for having us here in the second part of this wonderful project that we started in February in Santa Barbara. So props to Lori sitting over there. I always say that basically my job is to do nothing and go places and talk about what real people with real jobs are doing at Primavera Sound. As many of you might know, is a festival that happens every year in Barcelona. Our capacity is around 75,000 people. It's usually the first festival of the European season, which it comes with some challenges. It's really interesting to start the season and be the first ones to test the waters. And I usually go places and explain all the work that we are doing. Also, as a board member of Europe, I have the privilege of attending many conferences of learning, which is in the end the purpose of places like this and projects like this, to go places, learn, and hopefully go back home with some lessons learned. So I really wish that after this hour you might get some insights that you can also take home with you.
Thank you. Jenn.
Hi, my name is Jenn Yacoubian. I'm the Executive Vice President at Goldenvoice. We're located in Southern California. We do about 11 festivals just across the state of California and partnered on other festivals across the United States as well. And then in addition to that, we do around 2,000 shows annually across California, ranging from small 500 cap clubs up to arenas, boutique parks that are around 20,000, 25,000 cap events. And we operate in San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco.
Thank you. Fruzsina, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Fruzsina Szép, and I'm working for Good Life, and I'm the festival director for Super Bloom in Munich and Lollapalooza in Berlin, and I'm also a board member of Europe, the European Festival Association.
Thank you very much. And now it is EJ's turn. You can switch to the clip, please, because EJ was so kind and sent in a clip. Do you want to run it first or introduce it? Please run it. Is there sound? EJ, while they are setting up the sound, please tell us a bit about your position, and then we try it again.
Sure. So my name is EJ Encalarde. I am from New Orleans, Louisiana. I am the president and COO of Festival Productions, Inc. New Orleans, and I'm the coordinating producer for the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. So basically my job is, as my boss says, if anything goes wrong, it's your fault. So I take that pretty seriously. But we have a wonderful team, a core of 50 people, and we produce a festival with about 14 stages, 500,000 people attend. It's very much multi-genre, subculture in New Orleans. There are many facets of music, and that's what we do.
When did it start? 1970?
1970.
18?
1970.
It's heritage, come on.
Yeah, so we're going into our 54th year.
Yeah, I see. Is the clip running now?
There's nothing like playing the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. Nothing more.
All the best musicians come around the world. 7,000 musicians on 14 stages over 8 days.
Music and sounds and flavors. The air is thick, not with just humanity. It's thick with culture.
The world's greatest, backyard barbecue.
Velocidade que eu tô que fez. Famous double here in your face.
This is the real stuff.
There is no such thing as separation of culture in New Orleans. It's all blended together.
It's no wonder that jazz was born in this area because the people are so enthusiastic.
New Orleans is nothing without its artists. It's just sinking literally.
After Katrina, we almost lost not only our city, but a way of life.
So how do you begin to rebuild from below zero? No matter what comes, we have to put on jazz festival.
The resurrection of spirit and will to live with great expression.
All the New Orleans party people, now scream!
One of the most beautiful concert experiences I've ever had.
The music was cleansing the city and just showing everything's gonna be all right.
That's why I came here. There's a soul in this city.
Life's to be enjoyed, not endured, and there's a lot of that.
Who came to party?
This can only happen in New Orleans. That's the magic of the festival. We'll run and jam with C-Dog, isn't it?
Thank you very much. And basically, I introduced to the, when I did my preparation email, I said, let's not have big presentations up front, but I think EJ sent it in to the festival on another email. So we started with some pictures, but not to downgrade all the other great festivals on the panel. Just mentioning that. We saw a lot of information already there in the pictures. Maybe starting with that, EJ, how was the season 2024 for you?
It was
at the
phenomenal.
festival?
It was phenomenal. I mean, we had the Rolling Stones. We tried 3 times, so 3 times the charm. So that was a wonderful beginning. We also expanded to 8 days, and it was one of our largest, after the pandemic, one of the largest comeback with our attendance of 500,000 people. It was a lot of work. It seemed to be more complex for some reason this year. I just think festivals in general are just getting more complex across departments, across every element of the festival. So it was beautiful. It was very much adrenaline filled, and it took every source of your energy, but it was well worth it.
What was the biggest challenge for you this year?
I would have to say producing the Rolling Stones inside the festival, because it was a festival inside of a festival. And so producing that while producing the 7-day event was a lot. There was a lot of moving parts, a lot of buses, a lot of trucks, a lot of production, a lot of catering, a lot of backstage. But at the same time, even though that was one of the most complicated things, I think for us, making sure that every artist, whether they're national artists or whether they're local artists, when they leave, we want them to feel like, I've just been home. I just feel like they've just treated me like I was at home. So that's the most important thing for us, to make sure that our artists feel like they are totally loved. And when our fans come back, because our normal fan loyalty is about 15 years. So when they come, we want them to say, here I am, I'm back home again.
Thank you. Fruzzi, please tell us, how was the 2024 season for you with the two festivals? And maybe also about challenges that you had this year, if there were any.
I think there are always challenges, but the good thing is to overcome our challenges that we all have with our festivals. It was a tough season, to be very honest, because financially it's not very easy to put on festivals nowadays. I said it already a couple of months ago on another conference at IFF in London. I think it's a risky business nowadays because the overall structure, putting on a festival, I mean, we are building up cities literally for a couple of days, but it needs everything, and I don't want to repeat myself all the time, and I think we have heard about that so many times now, but really since Corona, the budget structure of festivals has changed rapidly because the rise of different costs, talking about production or suppliers, manpower, artist fees, it's almost unstoppable, and many of us, we don't know where the end is, and we've seen this year also a very big cancellation of festivals, sadly all over the world, not only in mainland Europe but all over the world, and I'm in love with festivals, otherwise I would not be in this business, and I hope that this will stop for 2025, because every festival, I think, is in itself has a cultural legacy, and with each of these festivals passing, we lose something of this whole ecosystem and this global feeling of being a festival family, as we call ourselves. And you said it very right, Holgi. But also to answer your questions, so both festivals, Lollapalooza in Berlin and Superbloom in Munich, we can say that we were very satisfied and thankful to our ticket buyers that they gave us the trust to buy our tickets and to come to our festivals, because this is also one thing that we are witnessing very much, that also the new generation, they become more price sensitive, and they choose very well to which festival or to which culture event they are going, because they also have to look at for what they're spending their money on. But to close this thought more positively, it was just really nice to see that within a short period of time, because with both festivals, we have only 5 days to build up, which is pretty tough. Everybody is working very concentrated on it, and to see that for 1 year we are all planning on the festivals, and then to see everything growing and taking shape, and the artists and the audience enjoying themselves, and also we as a team feeling very tired, very stressed, but also proud to put on such events.
And the events take place in the both Olympic areas that we have in Germany, in Munich and in Berlin, which are heritage sites and come with their own challenges. Jenn, please tell us how it was for you.
Yeah, you said it so wonderfully, because that was, what I was going to kind of say as well. I think that, we're still feeling this halo effect from the pandemic. And the year coming out of the pandemic was the worst, because a lot of these events and festivals had pre-sold tickets from years prior that we were trying to carry over to honor these ticket holders. But the production costs and the vendor costs went up by 20% or more in some cases. And so the budgeting and trying to figure out a way to, be able to honor those commitments to our buyers, but also be able to produce events in the way that we want to produce events and in the way that we want to showcase artists and have them excited to bring their show to us became super challenging. And it still is, because now, we're trying to find that balance of ticket pricing and consumer habits. And there's so much that goes, in aside from just the actual ticket itself, lodging, food, all of these things, right, are just seeing some of the highest numbers that we've ever really seen since producing these festivals. So that has certainly been the most challenging thing, of trying to, be able to produce events and book the talent that we would like to book at these festivals, but in a way where people still feel like they could go to the show and not feel priced out. But yes, having said that, 2024, we just finished our last festival 2 weeks ago. It was the 10th anniversary of Camp Flog Gnaw, which is a partnership with Tyler, the Creator, that we do down at Dodger Stadium for 50,000 people. And that's always kind of like the nightcap to the festival season. And we were able to introduce a new festival this year. This question for later, like if these genre-specific festivals are taking off in Europe kind of in the way they are in America, but we produced our first show called No Values, which was a punk festival, which the ethos of the origination of Goldenvoice started with booking some punk shows back in the day. So we had the original Misfits and Social Distortion among 41 other artists, and it sold out and was a great inaugural event for this year as well.
Thank you. Marta.
I would say that to us, added to all these business challenges that I think we all share, raising production costs, raising artist fees, the difficulty of getting the headliners, because there is a current trend of very big names not wanting to go to music festivals, but tour on their own, organize their own arena or stadium shows. Added to all of that, I would say that for Primavera Sound, the biggest challenge has been to go back a little bit to its roots. And let me explain. In 2022, we faced exactly what Jan was saying. We had to honor a lineup that never occurred in 2020, never occurred in the end of 2020, didn't occur in 2021. So then in 2022, we decided to go crazy, and instead of just staying where we were, we said, okay, we feel it's the perfect moment to do another festival, because why not? We are completely out of practice, so let's make 2 of them. So we had the first weekend with the lineup that would have happened in 2020. Then we had the second weekend with the lineup that we would have had in 2022. And in the middle of it, we decided, okay, everyone is here anyway, so why don't we do a full week of shows, 17 venues running at the same time. It was absolutely mayhem. So that was 2022. In 2023, we decided, now we're not going to do a second weekend, we're going to do another city. So then we had Barcelona, Porto, that has been running for 15 years now, and then we added Madrid in between. The reason behind this is that it's easier to attract some names if you can offer a little tour with 3 dates instead of just offering 1 city or 2, as it would be Barcelona and Porto. So in this edition, we said, you know what? Why don't we stay Barcelona? Porto, of course, is still existing, but let's try to bring back the vibe of the festival that started in 2001. So the challenge was how to keep it fresh, keep attracting new audiences, because this is also another topic for all of us, and at the same time keep honoring the people who have been attending for so many years. So overall, we had a very, very good season. We found the perfect setup in Parc del Forum where the festival happens. 75K is the cap. In 2022 went a little bit higher, we went to 80,000. So now we scaled back to 75,000. We had 1 stage less, which was good. And in the end, it was a great edition, but we've had also more tours than ever because we also promote around 100 tours during the year. So it feels like somehow the season never stops. Before you organize one festival, then that was it. And now all of a sudden you just finished your festival and you're already closing the lineup for the next edition, and you have like 40 tours just during the autumn. So I think that we have become not such a cyclical, not just a one thing in one moment of the year, but more of a cycle. And it's a difficulty to adapt when you're a promoter all year long. But overall, very good experience for 2024.
Thank you. You all probably had Esteemed in the preparation for the 2025 editions, obviously. After what you said, what the challenges and expectations for the last edition was, how it is going along? What are the main tasks? Are they different? What do you see? Maybe also looking ahead to 26 or 27. Fushi, maybe would you like to start where you are now and what you think are the major points that need to be worked on apart from the ordinary festival production topics, but what would be the main topics to work on and challenges to solve in the nearer and midterm future?
Well, a festival is such a complex construction, so to say, because it's always changing. It's always challenging. I don't think that we can compare one year to the other. It's every year it's a new year, and it's also not something that in German we say Blaupause. You know that it's we do it the same way that we did the year before. No, it's not, even though if you have the same site, even on site there are sometimes things that are changing, or also circumstances like weather that changes something on the site or on the sites that we are working on, or also changes in human resources or within teams. And I think to keep up always constantly with everything is many times it can be very tiring because a festival is so complex and we have to focus on so many topics every time. But I think what besides, of course, now many festivals have announced already their lineups or their first names. We are also working very concentrated with the booking team on the last acts. It's never easy. The booking process, I think, is one of the most complicated ones every year. I would wish for many, or for every booker and for every festival, that it could be a bit more easier and a bit more maybe hand in hand working with the agents, and I know that they are also trying very hard. But these days and weeks of waiting for confirmations can be also very stressful for the team. So this is definitely one thing that we are facing now. And the other thing is that besides creating a nice festival design and the nice content, we more and more have to focus on the changes of our audience behavior and the changes of our audiences. I mean, we are talking so many times about Generation Z, so Gen Z. Who are they? Who are these people? And we want to welcome them on our festivals. We would like to target them. We talk a lot about how to target them and what's the best way, because also their behavior, their consumption of culture has changed since Corona. And we should never forget that in those 2 years, this young generation missed the feeling of going to cultural events, going to festivals, going to clubs. So after Corona, and what you said, Jen, it has changed absolutely, because we had, and we kind of didn't even think about it, but we realized it on site, that we have a lot of first festival goers that have never been on a festival and had no clue, actually, how a festival is working. And this was, it's like, oh, whew, we kind of we forgot to think like that. And I know that many festivals woke up from that kind of a nightmare, that what to do, because we have to react now very quickly. And not only this, to welcome this new generation and to make them feel welcome on our festivals, but also within our structures to find ways for this new generation to become festival fans. So for us within our company and our festivals, this is definitely one of the core topics that we are working on now.
Thank you. You want to?
Sure. So right now what we're doing is we're having lots of meetings. People who are not used to having lots of meetings, 2-hour meetings, when they say, oh, you shouldn't take that long to have a meeting. Well, you're not used to doing a festival, because the details that are so important to producing a high quality festival, and you're looking at all of the inner workings of so many things, whether it's the food vendors, whether it's the crafts vendors, whether it's the artists in the backstage areas, and all the things that you're trying to do to a quality of standard for a high quality festival, it takes lots of meetings. So, like Marta mentioned, how the cycle, it's just going now. There's really not a dead period anymore, if you will. So we've just come out of evaluations and everybody giving assessments. And not only do we have our directors giving assessments, but we also ask even some of our administrators and assistants and production assistants, because we want everybody to have a voice. And speaking to what you were saying as far as the generations, we want to make sure that all the generations have a voice, because it's so important for us to understand what we need to do in future forward thinking of the festival. So thankfully we have anywhere from 20-year-olds to 80-year-olds working at our company. So it's a very vibrant meeting. It teaches us always to stay open, to make sure that we're broadening our minds, even if we're not sure if it's going to work, and if we really understand how you really want to do that. We're taking the time to really listen more, because we know ultimately all of these generations are describing our fan base and what we want our potential fan base to be. We want to make sure that the 20-year-olds are attending Jazz Fest, the 40-year-olds are attending Jazz Fest, the 50-year-olds are attending Jazz Fest, and the 80-year-olds are attending Jazz Fest. So that's how detailed the meetings have to happen. And as we're moving through those meetings, we're also starting to think more about, it's kind of when you're having a party in your house, and you start to look at the little details of, should I put that light there? Would those flowers look nice on that table? Now, I don't know how we're doing it, given how crazy things are moving and how fast they're moving, but now we're actually sitting back, we're looking at the layout, and we're trying to cultivate quiet spaces, green spaces, sober spaces, spaces where there's maybe not as much movement for people, so that the generations that are the younger generations who want a little bit more quiet time, they want us to remember to appreciate the moment, they want us to immerse in the experience, and we want to think about our wellness. All of that is now being cultivated in the festival that we're working on moving forward.
Thank you, Marta. Jen, do you want to add to that?
In our case, we're very lucky, or maybe the booking team is talented, so talented that we were able to close the lineup for 2025. We announced 1 month ago, and the festival is already sold out, which is amazing, and at the same time puts a lot of pressure on the booking team. And I think that in this edition, more than ever, something happened, is that we have been shifting slowly to try to cater more diverse audience, and you do that with more diverse artists and more diverse genres. We started booking K-pop acts, something that you have been doing a lot at Coachella with amazing results. We have been booking more pop acts. We still have death metal bands. So you can create your own music festival. Doesn't matter which genre you are really focusing in, because in the end, there's just so many shows that you can attend at the end of the day. So if you are really into classic indie bands, you will find them. If you are into more extreme sounds, you will find them. But it is true that we found out that we needed to evolve, and the conception of alternative or indie is not really working anymore if you want to have 75,000 people coming to your festival. So this year, I think that we made a very bold move, that was to put 3 very young women as the 3 headliners for every day, which are Sabrina Carpenter, Charlie XCX, and Chappelle Roan. And that really worked, because we found out that really young people wanted to come to the festival, and you really need to talk to them somehow, but you can't be you talking to them. It's the artists, the one that have to be speaking directly to their audiences. And I don't know if this means that festivals have to become a day where Chappelle Roan is playing and then 70 more acts. We don't want to think about that. We don't want to have a headliner and then 70 more. But it is true that with some acts, you're going to attract a very particular audience. And in the end, this has been a very big challenge, but you really need to find out what younger audiences want and how to make them feel welcome, as Fruzsina and EJ were saying, because it's a completely different world. And I am old already. I don't know what they want. So you really need to have a very diverse team, because otherwise you really don't understand how they are working. And in the end, also having the artists who know how to speak directly to their audiences is a very good strategy, but it's not always easy to be able to find these artists and make them come to your festival.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to keep being innovative, right? We also have this saying in America, rinse and repeat. And we can't rinse and repeat. You have to keep creating new experiences for people that not only gain new eyes, new customers that want to come to our shows, and we attract them in some way that we haven't been able to before for whatever reason, but also keep our super loyal attendees coming back year after year and feeling like they're having a new experience in some sort of way. Last year at Coachella, we introduced a new stage. We've always had a lot of dance music at Coachella. It's very, very popular. We decided to lean into that because of the way the festival is formatted with set times. We've never really had an opportunity to allow artists to play for more than an hour, let's say, unless you're the headliner. And we saw that in the market, that people were really loving these long sets. You know, we would book Solomon at Coachella, but people didn't want to see Solomon for an hour. They go to Ibiza to see him for 6 hours, you know? So we developed this new stage, Quasar, and the concept was it's only 2 slots per day, but they are 3 or 4 hour sets. And it was a huge hit. People were so excited. The actual design of the stage was unlike anything we had ever done at Coachella. There was no structure to it, just, you know, really giant LED that were like beautifully programmed. And it was exciting for the artists as well, because there was a little bit of pressure off to bring this production to Coachella. I think a lot of artists, you know, when they think about a Coachella set, it's like, okay, we have to develop a whole new show and all of these things, which of course, but that one, it's like we have it there for you. You kind of just need to come and, you know, show up. And we did some interesting back-to-backs that we've never really been able to do either. So that was successful, and we were able to tease that this year alongside the lineup, and people are so excited for that to come back. And I think it's just really listening to your consumers and being able to, you know, try to be a mind reader sometimes, but listen to what they like at the festivals and the experiences that they are interested in or purchasing for. You know, we do this. I do this other show called Cruel World. The headliners are New Order, Nick Cave, and the Bad Seeds, and it's a little bit more of an, you know, the demo is like closer to 40, 50. A lot of people come to the show, but that's the bread and butter of the audience, and you know, they want a nice ticket. So how do we keep elevating the VIP? How do we create different tiers of VIP so that these people feel like we're talking to them, because maybe this is the one festival they go to now, and that's it, because you know, it's the one that speaks to them. So how do we keep elevating that experience for them? And I think those are the things that we're constantly working on, right? Booking, of course. The booking is getting further and further out. It's crazy. But these new experiences for people to tap in, to feel like I'm really getting the value of my ticket here.
All of you mentioned something like diversity, you staying relevant for people who come year by year, intergenerational relevance. Fruzsina, you talked about being there for the young generation, leading them into the festival world. What is the role of festivals nowadays, but more important in the future? If we look at society, your festivals reach millions of people. Thousands are going there, working with big stars who are brands. The festivals are brands themselves. Maybe with that comes some responsibility, even beyond musical program. What is the role? Also, I'm looking at our U.S. Friends. Not so long ago, there was an election. Maybe also that means. Do you have a special role in culture nowadays? What role has culture today? Please, who wants to go first?
Yeah, I mean, well, unfortunately, we have been here before, and you know, 8 years ago, we you know, went through the same thing. I think, you know, a partner that we work with across all of our festivals is this company called Headcount, and they are on site at all of our festivals that are encouraging everybody to register to vote. It's a super easy process on site. They have visibility from our smallest boutique festival all the way up to Coachella. And I think it starts there, right? You know, it's a fine line. People want to go to festivals for escapism, you know? And so it's a fine line of like, do we provide that experience for them because maybe you don't want to think about the election because you just want to be like, man, I just want to have a great time today. But then also using those platforms to be able to help, you know, either give access and tools to people that they haven't had before, or just information, you know, and, you know, information and encouragement if there's our different partners that we have alongside the festivals that maybe they weren't even aware of, and now they're open-minded or are aware that these things exist for them. And those are the really fun experiences where it's like, oh wow, I didn't even know that this group of community existed until I came to this show, and now I feel inclusive and like these people spoke to me in a certain way.
Well, the first thing I think of is what's our responsibility as festival producers is to promote joy, is to promote love, is to promote unity, is to promote an atmosphere where you feel like you are at home. And if we've done that job, we've done the best job that we can do. We also, at least for Jazz Fest, we don't give a lot of education about different social issues. Everybody comes and they're able to really focus on being with their friends, focus on being with their families, focus on meeting new people, focusing on all of the different musical subcultures that we have, whether it's blues and zydeco and Cajun and gospel. There's so much to immerse yourself into that, like Jen said, it really is escapism. You know, it's part of festivalization, is being able to walk into a world and just be able to leave everything else outside. So that's what we're really focused on most of all. I think that other than that, with regards to the younger generations, we're in the middle of a paradigm shift. We're in the middle of a paradigm shift, and I mentioned it when we were at the summit, as it relates to economies, as it relates to ethics, as it relates to experience. So we're in a very uncomfortable position right now, all of us, because we're changing, we're learning. There's things that we don't have the answers to. And for those of us who have been doing festivals for so long, and for many years ago, it was pretty much, you did the festival, you knew how to do the festival, you saw the people that you worked with. You didn't have to worry about, were the workers that I had backstage going to be the same workers the next year? Were they going to be able to come back? What about the touring group? Were they going to all be different and changed? The food vendors, are they going to be able to afford to come back? These are things that we never had to think about, you know, but now it's every single part, like you said, the complexity of the festivals. Now you have to think about all of that. But above all, you want to give joy, you want to give love, and you want to make sure that they feel that there's a place of unity.
Fruzsina, did you ever think about what a festival should stand for? And
Oh yeah, since quite a few years, but it's really nice to listen to all of you, and it's very meaningful what you are all sharing. And for me, one thing came into my mind, maybe to add all that you have already said, is I think a festival is about identity. It's our own identity, because you were asking, Holgi, how do we? What does a festival stand for? And I was just thinking and looking at all of you, like also asking you the question, like every morning we wake up and we decide on what do we wear today? What hyaluron cream are we putting on our skin? Or what kind of perfume we are putting on our body? That's our own identity. And that's the same way we are also deciding which festival fits our identity. Is it Coachella? Is it New Orleans Jazz? Is it Primavera? Is it Wacken Open Air? Is it Lowlands? Is it Oya? Is it Roskilde? Whatsoever. The list is luckily very long. Or is it future festivals? Ta-da! You all decided now to be here and to share your identity with the identity of the future festivals. And that's the great thing, that every festival has its identity, and it speaks to the people who identify themselves with the message and the content and creation of every single other festival out there. And that's a great combination, and this is something that we should be very thankful for that, and it's actually a very natural thing. But we as festival promoters, we should do everything to make this cohesion and this togetherness the best we can. So to keep up this identity that our audiences, that the artists, because they also identify themselves with the brands, with our festivals, and sometimes I'm sure that they say, no, to this one I don't want to go because it's not the way. It's not something for me. I don't identify myself with that festival, and maybe also not with that crowd. So I think that's maybe one just a thought to add to everything what festivals are about.
Marta, go.
I completely agree with everything that just has been said, and especially the words of Fruzsina have resonated with what I wanted to say. As I already said that like 1 week ago in Karlsruhe, that somehow festivals have become our safe space, our comfort spaces, somewhere where you can go and you know that you will feel accepted and safe and comforted somehow. And that means that we have two main responsibilities. On one hand, it's the content. In an era where everything is so available that we immerse ourselves in the void, in the doom scrolling, and you don't know where to look at anymore, where music media outlets are becoming irrelevant, not because they lack of talent, but because they are being absorbed by huge corporations, because they don't have the resources anymore, because there is too much to be looking at. Music festivals have become your trusted friend. When you went on a road trip and you asked a friend, okay, why don't you make me a playlist, please, to be driving for 5 hours? You know, when you attend certain festivals, that they're gonna give you that playlist that you need at that moment. That happens a lot to us at Primavera. We find that out on our social media channels. People are saying, hey, we would like you to make a post about the new indie bands. And that was something that we just posted yesterday. And we said, okay, so if you want indie, you can go and you can check Wet Leg, and you can check Julie, and you can check these bands that sound like your old indie bands, but in a very cool new way. So that's one aspect of our role, our relevance today. And the second part is values. In our case, we know that we have become the unofficial pride in Barcelona. We know how welcome, how safe, how happy queer communities are in our festival, because we think that we offer a lot of queer artists that are very vocal on stage about their queerness, about the joy they spread. And that means that our queer audience feels safe there. We know that we are working a lot on gender equality. We have gender balance lineups. We have 3 female headliners. That has a direct reflection in our audience. Right now, we are around 53% of our audience is female. And that is also because we are portraying a lot of female talent. And that means that young girls are organizing themselves because they want to go to a festival and they might not have friends to go with. And we have heard lots of experiences lately and projects about find a friend to go to a festival because maybe your friends don't want to go. So we know that young girls feel safe to go to festivals like ours. We all know what happens when we turn a blind eye on what's happening out there. We know what happened with Woodstock 99. We know what happens when violence is encouraged on stage. So the artists that we book are going to promote a certain atmosphere, and that's a responsibility that we have to create safer spaces for everyone. So I think it's tremendously relevant to be vocal about certain topics, because festivals can be the best reflection of our societies, not utopias that exist somewhere else, in a different space, in a different time. And I completely understand the escapism that we can also promote. I mean, Primavera runs for 4 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. It's not that you're going to be thinking about politics where you are dancing your asses off at 5 a.m. in the morning. But at the same time, being vocal about some values is important.
And it's maybe then it's the time for respect, because you want others to respect that this is now the time where you want to dance.
Absolutely.
Maybe it is cultural exchange, because you're listening to a band you have never heard before, and now from 4 to 6 o'clock you're dancing your ass off to something from who knows where. And I think thank you for bringing up the topic of values in that response. I have a list of questions left, but only some minutes. But I would love to ask, is there anybody in the audience who has a question to one of our speakers? Yes.
Hi, my name is Yonja. Lovely to meet you. This is more of a general question, not for one person in particular. First of all, thank you. This might sound pathetic, but thank you very much for this female panelists. I honestly find it very inspiring seeing so many powerful women sitting together. But for my question, we've been talking about how the audience has changed and how concert and festival etiquette has been changing drastically since COVID. And I was wondering what your experiences at your festivals were. Is it more helpful to kind of separate the generations from one another so there's no war going on? Or if you try to create spaces where people could reach hands out, maybe learn from one another, how have you been handling those situations?
Whoever wants, please.
I'll go.
Okay.
I'll jump at it.
Just start.
Okay. Well, honestly, I don't think that we would separate the generations, because I'm thinking of our particular festival. It's so multi-generational. When you think of grandparents bringing their daughter and their son-in-law and their children, their children's children, and they're all having a wonderful time. Now, once they step into the festival, then pretty much they decide kind of on their own what they want to do. They may have a meeting place, so maybe the kids may go with the parents to the kids area, and then the grandparents may decide to go and hang out in Cajun Zydeco and do a little Zydeco dancing, or maybe they might want to go to gospel and sit down and just listen to some gospel music. And then they'll say, hey, let's meet up again at Crawfish Monica. Let's meet up again at Soft Shell Crab, have our lunch, and then we might end up at one of the larger stages together where we put out our blanket and where we all just celebrate together. So that's what I usually see at our festival, at the Jazz Festival, is that even though they're multi-generations, they have all day. So, you come at 11 in the morning, you can have beignets and coffee, and then you walk away, and then you come back, and then you're meeting other people. You may come back with new friends, So I think our festival gives enough space for you to either be together, or if you want to separate, do your own thing, hang out at maybe a pop stage rather than an R&B or a blues stage, or maybe learn something entirely new. Like we have a cultural pavilion stage, Expedia Cultural Exchange Pavilion, and we celebrated Colombia recently. So you may want to get into Colombian music and start dancing and eating and drinking Coca Loco, I think it's called. So I think that even though they may want to do their own things, they come together, they have their own time, and then they come together again.
Can I add one thought? Because you said it already. I mean, you were asking about what about to separate them. And I think a festival is never about separation. What we are working on is about inclusion. And also to bring everybody together, to meet each other, to get to know each other, to understand each other's culture, behavior, generation. And that makes a festival. And I think the festival world would like to be as inclusive as it can be. And I think this is also a great example, not to separate, because there's enough separation out there in the world.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because see the difference right there? From some of the generations used to being maybe isolated and being alone, that they're not thinking of actually coming together, sharing that moment with a number of generations, learning something new, not because they don't want to, because they just haven't had that experience. But coming into a festival in the true festival experience of that sharing of information, sharing of new cultures, sharing of food. Have a little bit of this, have a little bit of that, bringing everybody together. So I think it does bring that united front, if you will.
Do we have another question? You.
Me. I just want to say how proud I am. Who am I? I'm Lori Kirby, and we partnered together on creating this joint venture together. And I'm so proud of these women. They're so smart and they're so amazing. I love all three of them. And I just want to say, EJ, happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dearest EJ. Happy birthday to you. Do we have one last question down here? There in the back. Coming?
Hi, have any of you guys ever had the chance to work on a US festival and a European one? And what was the main difference, or is it mostly the same crowd that you guys are working with and therefore have similar challenges, or is it kind of the same people that want to have fun, want to go out and try out something new?
Well, in our case at Primavera, we had one edition in LA, and we are running editions in Latin America as well. And it's definitely completely different challenges, even if the philosophy of the festival is the same. So let's say the booking criteria is the same, to create diverse lineups, to be multi-genre, to appeal to different generations, and then at the same time you're bound by local restrictions. For example, in Barcelona we run a set from 4 p.m. to 6 a.m. You can drink anywhere, whereas the festival in LA, we were partnering with people there, but it was so surprising to learn that, for example, you have your areas where you can have your drink. Don't you dare to step out of those areas with your beer. You can just drink the beer in that space and you can't leave it with. It's completely mind-blowing here in Europe. I mean, you just get your beer wherever you want.
You have that in Poland, by the way.
Oh,
if you go to a
really?
festival in Poland, you have exactly the same.
So as you can see, programming in different countries can be very different. Audiences in Latin America are really wild, and we come from Spain, which is not that we are the quietest, you know. But we were having the Arctic Monkeys in Buenos Aires, and at some point they changed the set list. They started playing quieter songs because they became so rowdy, meaning the audience, that even on stage they thought, oh wow, this is really getting wild. And Argentinians, they didn't mind. It's like, if you don't want to get involved in everything, this mess that is going on here, just go move to the back. And that's normal for them. But definitely we as organizers were like, oh wow, this is different. So even if the company is the same, the teams are the same, the local regulations and the local audiences might make a really big shift in how the festival develops, yes?
Thank you. I'd like to wrap that up, but not without asking you for one happy perspective in the future. So I'm starting with Fruzsina. What is it that you look forward to for your festivals and festivals in the future? Could be a project as well as one of your festivals.
No, I would take more the human perspective, and maybe not for the festival on the ground itself, but I very much hope that within our team and in our teams, the people feel with all the stress and the pressure that we all have, that the mental health aspect, that this becomes more balanced for the years to come. That's what I would wish for our teams internally and all the external colleagues and suppliers that we're working with, because this is also something I realized and I witnessed, that since COVID, we as human beings, we have changed a lot, because something happened in the world that went into all of our comfort zones. And I think we have to get back the stamina and the strength within our comfort zone. And the way a team functions, how the overall feeling within a team, that reflects very much on the festival.
Thank you. EJ,
Ask me the question again.
what are you looking forward to in the nearer future for festivals or your festivals? Could be a project.
So I'm going to also take the human approach, always thinking about the teams. But what I'm looking forward to is how brilliant the younger generation is. They are absolutely brilliant. They are absolutely creative. They are problem solvers. They are solutionists. They are innovative. I think that we have to continue with intergenerational power sharing. We need to make sure that they have a voice and that they're speaking and that they're leading. And we're giving them the tools they need to do it. So we're giving them the training. We're giving them the staff development. We're giving them the workshops. We're giving them the tabletop discussions. So we're not saying that she's not able to do that, or he's not able to do that, or whomever is not able to do that. Have we put them in situations in a safe place where we've done tabletops so that they understand how to do this and how to do that? So I'm hopeful from what I'm seeing at our company that we are becoming very open and we're becoming very nurturing of our next gen, and we're making sure that they do become the leaders and that they're able to carry on the legacy of our festival.
Jenn.
Mine is a very simple answer. I am so excited that people still love music. We're seeing so many first-time festival buyers, and it's so awesome to see that there's still festival-curious people of any age, that you've spoken to them in a way where you've pushed them over the line to say, I'm going to try it for the first time. I sit on the internet for way too long every day, and I read a lot of stuff, and one of my favorite things after the Coachella lineup comes out is just seeing posts on Reddit about, I like this artist, I like Charlie XCX, who else am I going to like on the lineup? And just seeing music passionate fans being like, this and this and this and this, and don't forget to stop by Doolab if you weren't going to do that because it's the best time ever. And just seeing that passion still exists, you know, festivals are doing well. That's what I'm looking forward to 2025. It just seems like it's going to be a really fun year.
And I want to quote a professor who spoke at the Europe Summit last week about the emotional power of live music, which is so much stronger than streaming music and listening from CD or recorded music. And this is what our festivals are about, creating these emotions. Marta, famous last words.
So we have spoken about the teams, we have spoken about the audience, so let's wrap up talking about the industry. I'm really hopeful for the future because this panel wouldn't have happened some years ago. It's 4 women on stage. We are competitors, and at the same time we're here sharing knowledge, sharing experiences, and there are so many of you standing up just listening to us. So not just because you needed a comfy chair just to have your coffee, you're here listening to something that maybe, as I said at the beginning of the panel, maybe you would take something with you home. So these kind of panels and conferences and this kind of exchanges are happening more and more, and this is something that we are nurturing from Europe, but then we are nurturing in conferences like this, and we are willing to share because we are stronger together. And even though I need to sell tickets and Jenn needs to sell tickets and Fru and EJ, we need to sell tickets. If we share the challenges, it is easier for all of us to sell tickets. So I'm very hopeful that the industry is able to overcome the competitiveness and looking at each other with hatred or resentment or whatever, and just to nurture this kind of exchanges.
Thank you. And I'm looking forward to continue this transatlantic exchange because our 3F project runs for another 4 years. And when we wrote the application, we wrote in that we want to be, as one of the activities, we want to bring people over to the US and people from the US over to Europe to continue this exchange. And luckily, we have confirmed the 3F 2.0 project. So we will continue with doing this. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for the contribution. And thank you, Future Festivals and Fest Forums, for the stage.
Das war das Panel mit dem Namen
Learn from each other, US and European Festivals.
Wenn ihr Kritik oder Fragen habt, dann schreibt uns gerne unter www.futureoffestivals.com. Wir sehen uns spätestens am Donnerstag, den 27. und Freitag, den 28. November 2025 in der Station Berlin. Bis dahin.